Am I an idiot for throwing away my husband's Xbox after he refused to look for our lost dog? I am a nurse, female 35, and have been extremely busy these past 3 months. Even writing this post is a privilege, and I am having to do this in bits and pieces. I also gave birth to my daughter 6 months ago. I have an 8-year-old son as well. When I am not working, I take care of my children. In January 2019, my son suddenly developed this strong desire to have a dog. He begged and begged for a puppy from my husband, 35M. I protested against it because I had just found out that I was pregnant. Jesus, my husband said that we should let our son have a puppy to teach him some responsibility, and that he would have some practice to take care of his baby sibling. He had also promised that he would help our son take care of the dog. I was absolutely unconvinced, but I had to give in eventually because my husband had already agreed and I didn't want to cause further fights. 5 days ago, my son had accidentally left the back door of our house open and the dog ran away. These 5 days were also some of the busiest, most grueling days of my work, and I had to take up night shifts because a colleague had fallen sick. Our son first went to my husband for help. He refused to help him and said that it was his, my son's, responsibility to care for him and he has to do something about it himself. My husband has the privilege of working from home. He works at a law firm. He works for maybe 3 minutes 4 hours a day and plays Xbox the entire time and sometimes gets up to check up on our daughter. He literally has no added pressures. 5 days ago, when our son told me in tears that dad won't look for Tippy, I talked to my husband, who said that it would teach our son some responsibility to take care of things in the future, which I found very callous since a dog is a living, sentient being and not a thing. He was playing Xbox when I was talking to him as well. He also said he won't look for the dog or anything. Yesterday, after coming home at night, the first thing I did was unplug the Xbox console and controller and throw it in the trash can. This morning, before going to work, my husband threw a fit when he didn't find his Xbox in the living room. I told him that I'd thrown it away because he was so addicted to it that he couldn't even get up and help our distressed son. When I came back from work, he told me he had found his Xbox in the trash since the garbage truck hadn't arrived then. Now, he's being incredibly snarky, giving me the cold shoulder, and he's angry because his controller isn't working. He also hasn't taken any measures to look for our dog, and our mutual best friend called and said my reaction was incredibly childish. Now I am spending my free day calling every neighbor of ours, making internet posters and contacting animal shelters and animal control to see if Tippy had turned up anywhere and consoling my heartbroken son. Am I an idiot? Edit. My husband is a lawyer. A lawyer's job depends on how many clients he has. My husband currently has almost no clients due to obvious reasons. He told me this himself. So his workload is significantly less. This is for all those people who are saying that I am downplaying his work. Update. Tippy still hasn't been found yet. My shift ended about 30 minutes ago and I'll go home and drive around in my neighborhood and surrounding areas to look for him. I have posted some pictures of Tippy on my profile, for those who requested. Husband is still sulking about his controller. I am at my wit's end. Update. Tippy has been found. First of all, thank you everyone for your immensely kind and considerate responses. I am thankful to each and every one of you to give me such beautiful and encouraging messages. These kept me going, no joke. Tippy was found 2 miles away from our house, a day after I posted ads and posters on several platforms and websites. A kind lady living alone had found him near her street, starving and exhausted. She responded to my calls for help on Facebook and I am utterly thankful to her. We need more people like her in this world. My son and Tippy are both ecstatic to be reunited. He takes care of him just like he did before, only now I have some time on my hands to help him as well. However, my son is still wary of his father and he'll likely remain so for a long time. Now he doesn't ask him for help at all. As for my husband, he now treats Tippy as if he doesn't exist. He went and bought a new Xbox controller right after Tippy was brought back and now demands that I pay him for damaging his property. I am willing to pay because I realize my impulsive response was not the best decision and nor was it the best way to deal with my situation. My approach towards my husband's Xbox and my husband's approach towards Tippy were both horrible and irrational. Many of you mentioned that my husband may have been neglecting our daughter. It's unfortunate that you were right. I started to notice some tender areas and red skin around my daughter's diaper area around 2 weeks ago. She was uncomfortable, irritable, and put up a fuss every time I tried to change her diaper. Turns out she was suffering from a diaper rash. Diaper rashes can occur for a variety of reasons, none of which were applying to my daughter. She wasn't on antibiotics, she had soft cotton clothes, her bowel movements were normal, and we weren't using any new products on her. This left only one option. Her diapers weren't being changed frequently. I was away from home for 5 days. I asked my husband how many times he had changed her diapers. A baby her age needs her diaper changed at least once every 3 hours. My husband outright said he was changing them every 7 hours or so for those 5 days because he didn't think that they needed to be changed as much as before because she was now 6 months old. He had raised a son with me before. It's a ridiculous excuse. The diaper rash is gone now, but now I am scared to ever leave my baby with him when I go to work. I will have to sit down and reconsider everything and have a long talk with him soon. It's inevitable. He still plays Xbox just like he used to play before. I will never forget how a bunch of strangers jumped to help me find our dog. Thank you, you lovely people. Not an idiot. Happy to hear that Tippy was found, but from your update there's still a long road to getting things resolved. If your little girl isn't getting a diaper change for 7 hours though, that's terrible since it means she's getting no interaction either, since presumably he's not close enough that the smell bothers him. Not an idiot. Ignoring the dog thing, which is already incredibly and unacceptably cruel to your son. He let your baby daughter sit in her own feces and urine to the point where it started to degrade her skin. How long did he ignore her crying? Did he feed her any more often than he changed her? Did he smell her diaper and decide it was too much effort to change it? Did he not smell her diaper because he ignored her and left her in a different room to play video games for 7 hours at a time? Did he think not changing her was some kind of punishment for her using her diaper? Is the husband in the wrong? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for exposing that my parents don't love me? My parents have always favored my younger brother. I was by no means unloved, but it was blatantly obvious who they cared about more. I worked a part-time job to get my first car, but my brother got one as a present. It wasn't new, but was much newer than my car. It was the same with just about anything else, like clothes, video games, and cell phones. I'm 18 and I'm taking a gap year before community college to work a full-time job and save money for tuition. But a while back I heard my parents talking about how much they were going to pay for my brother's tuition. I secretly recorded the conversation from around the corner and then came out asking my parents why they were going to pay for my brother's college, but not mine. They didn't notice my phone was recording and just said that my brother needs more help. I asked how so when I wasn't getting any sort of scholarship, and he likely wouldn't either. Then I asked a few more questions about why things have always been this way. They got mad and my father told me that perhaps it's time I moved out because they are sick of keeping a roof over my head. I pointed out that I pay rent, but they didn't care. I left the room and in a fit of rage uploaded the video to 2 different social media sites and ranted about how this is how my parents have always been. Well, for a few hours my parents were pounding at my door. My dad was screaming at me about how I made them look bad. We fought some more and they left the room fuming. My grandparents contacted me later and said they were appalled, then came to visit with a lot of the family the next day. There was a huge family intervention and my parents were made to sit on the couch and look at their feet while being told off. It was then I found out they'd been receiving money for years from my grandparents to help with family expenses. My brother looked like he didn't know what to do, so he sided with the rest of the family and said he's noticed how I'm treated as well. My parents gave me a huge apology that sounded forced. My grandparents have offered that I come live with them soon and will cut off the monthly payments to my parents. My father told me I should have never told the rest of the family and now won't talk to me. And my mother has been crying for days. So I'm starting to wonder if I went too far. So am I an idiot for exposing my parents' favoritism? Update. I decided to go ahead and call my grandparents to accept their offer to move in. During the phone call I asked them why there were monthly payments being sent to my parents. Turns out my parents were living beyond their means for a while because my mother quit her job to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. My grandparents decided to help out by sending them money monthly to help with my parents' mortgage and also to set aside some of that money for college savings for both my brother and I that was to be split evenly. Turns out my parents only planned to put that savings towards my brother's college, and that's also how they bought his car as well. So from now on my parents are now on their own financially. Likely my mother will have to go back to work to help my dad keep up the mortgage. I confronted my parents and asked why they've always treated my brother as their favorite. Then asked if there was something I needed to know. Turns out there was. Nothing. Literally nothing. I'm not an affair baby. Not even an unplanned pregnancy. They just liked my brother more. I was mad as hell and we argued a lot before I left the room because I'd had enough. My grandparents showed up on set with a moving truck. My parents were floored when we started bringing in boxes to pack. My father got in our way and I reminded him how he said that I should move out, so I am. My mother cried some more and said that my father was just angry the moment he said that, and they had been counting on my rent money to help with my brother's college fund. I asked if that meant he would never have had to pay rent like I did when he turned 18. My father then said that since I was taking a gap year to work, then my rent money could have helped my brother, which means they never intended for him to get a job while going to college. My grandpa was enraged and confronted my father, saying he raised him better than this. He chewed him out saying he's never been more disappointed in him, and they will no longer receive any more financial support. Then said he'd disown them both if they ever tried to retaliate against me for exposing them. My father backed down and neither he nor my mother said another word to me. I had a bit of an awkward conversation with my brother as we said our goodbyes to each other. And that was it. I just got in my car, waved and drove off. I'm now fully moved into my new room at my grandparents' house. It's a little smaller, but nice. And my grandparents are very welcoming. I'm going to keep working hard to move forward from here and I appreciate everyone's support. Not an idiot. Dad had the audacity to tell y'all face he only wants you there to pay rent to help your brother benefit only. He's delusional and should be taken from so you get all their share from grandparents. Not an idiot. This makes me miss my grandma. I have a stutter and my uncles used to bully me and make fun of me. One time my grandma heard about it and she made hell. She has 7 sons and some with grandkids. I have never seen 7 grown men cry before. She made them apologize to me in front of their kids and wives. She didn't talk to them for 2 months and they crawled back to her feet for mercy. What would you do if your parents took advantage of you like that? Now, am I an idiot for not attending my friend's wedding on the day of my family's death anniversary? 7 years ago, I, female 35, lost my husband, daughter, and mother to a car accident. They were hit by a drunk driver that drove through a red light and killed all of them on impact. Their deaths greatly affected me and if it weren't for my friends and years of therapy I would be in a much lower place. I am very thankful for their support and have been able to process my grief properly. 2 years ago, I took a job offer that provided more benefits than my current one, and moved far away from my city to another. I travel back to occasionally meet up with friends and of course to visit my family's graves on their death anniversary. It is a 7-hour car drive, or around an hour by plane. due to COVID. Last year I drove to avoid contact with people and stayed at my old house. This year I plan to do the same thing but ran into an issue with my friend having her wedding in my old city. My friend Amy, 33 Fahrenheit, fake name, announced she was engaged last year to her boyfriend of 3 months. My friend group and I were quite shocked as we never even met him, nor did we know she was dating anyone as we usually tell each other, but nonetheless we congratulated her and were happy for her. They were supposed to have their wedding last year but couldn't due to COVID and postponed it to this year. We are not in the US BTW, and COVID cases are now less than 10 here in my country. We are allowed gatherings of less than 15 people, and that is what Amy decided to do for her wedding. About a week ago Amy called me privately to tell me her plans for the wedding. She told me that she is having it on the same day of my family's death anniversary, and would like me to not visit their graves and just attend the wedding instead. I was quite shocked that the wedding was planned that specific day and questioned as to why she picked that day. Amy told me she just liked the date and told me that I can't just gatekeep a certain day. Then I asked her why can't I go visit my family's grave. She told me that she doesn't want my sadness and grief to take the attention at her wedding. I was incredibly stunned at what she said. I know I am quite emotional, but I know how to compose and behave myself at certain events. Here's where I think I am the idiot. I told Amy that unfortunately I will not miss out on visiting my family's graves. I tried to ask for a compromise and told her if my emotions were that much of a problem, I'll attend their graves after the wedding was over. She said she wants my support for the entire day and dedicate it towards her, but she'll think about my offer. It's been a week and I have not heard from her. I feel like I should just go to the wedding to keep the peace as I owe it to her, especially after all the support and love she gave me after my family's death. But it still doesn't feel right to just attend the wedding and forget about my family. Would I be an awe if I told her I won't be attending the wedding at all if she hasn't reached a decision? Update. Hello Reddit. I want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who replied. I was not expecting my post to get this level of attention. I have read all of your comments, and thank you once again. I am in tears and became an emotional mess after reading your thoughtful responses. Thank you for the love and support. I have always felt as some sort of emotional burden to my friends. So thank you for your encouraging messages. I did what some of you suggested and called my other friends to let them know what Amy had asked of me. They were quite livid and angry with me as they had no idea what Amy was planning for the wedding. We arranged a Zoom call with her the next day to discuss why she was being so insensitive to me. Well, the call was quite the battle. It started off calm, then Amy just blew up. You guys were right when you said that Amy was jealous of the attention that I had received during the time of my family's death anniversary. Her wedding was a way to shift the attention towards her. She tried to explain to us that by having the wedding on that day, it will turn a negative situation into a positive one. When she realized she wasn't convincing enough, it felt as though a mask had fallen from her face and she started yelling and insulting me. She said that she is tired of having to play the supportive friend role and that it's been 7 years. I should just get over it by now or go join my family in the ground. My friends lost their anger and called her every name in the book. I am honestly just shocked and disappointed at the person who used to be my friend. It breaks my heart knowing I lost another person in my life, but I guess you guys are right in the sense that she never really was a friend. I now look back at our friendship and realized it was often one-sided on my part. I wish it didn't take me so long to realize it. No one in our friend group of 6 people is going to her wedding now. We have decided to go no contact with Amy and block her on all social media. My friends have offered to go visit my family's graves together with me. I accepted and we are now planning to also make a scrapbook with my family's pictures. For once I am actually looking forward to this day, and we'll start to plan more eventful activities like this. Thank you once again to everyone for helping me through this. And please remember, do not drink and drive. I am begging you, please don't. Please drink responsibly and drive safely everyone. Edit. I was once again not expecting this amount of attention. I am in literal tears. Thank you everyone for your kind words and sympathy. I appreciate your love and support. I don't think I deserve the awards you all have given me. Thank you kind strangers. Some are asking about Amy's fiancé and his thoughts. We haven't heard anything as we still haven't even met him. We tried several times to meet him last year, but something always came up. I guess we'll never know his true feelings. Not an idiot. Jealous of the support you got after everything you lost. Jesus Christ. Good riddance to bad rubbish there. Sorry that you had to go through this to find how bad she was though. Not an idiot. It shouldn't be so surprising to me. But with all the stories that get told here, I was more than happy to hear how your real friends had your back on this. Thank you for the update.